visit Arcade1Up.com. Today I'm excited to introduce to you guys our new LCD digital marquee mount. This is going to be both a demo and install video. It supports a 14.9 inch LCD monitor. So what comes with this is the mount, the mounting hardware. It's themed to your cabinet, the clear Plex front covering. Also with our mod kits, we now ship Pi 4s with all the horizontal cabinets. So if you get a 2-player or 4-player and you have a horizontal cabinet, you will get a Pi 4. It is now enabled. This will just work out of the box if you just connect up the second display, which is super exciting. We typically ship the same day or next day on your order, so you don't have to wait weeks like with a bunch of our competitors. Again, this is just the mount, the mounting hardware, and the Plex themed to your cabinet. You still got to get the LCD panel, which we'll have a link in the description of where to get it on Amazon. So let's get this demo unit and installation going. All right, so let's talk through these pieces. You'll have a new back panel, top back panel here. It's a little bit shorter at the top to account for the marquee. You will get the marquee bracket. This will be, of course, has the black trim. This will be themed to whatever cabinet you need, or you can do custom artwork for that. So I'm going to do a Street Fighter, so this is just a Street Fighter theme. Plex, this will come in double-sided brown paper. So you'll peel that off on both sides. That's just clear Plex there. And then you'll have 4 bolts to bolt the monitor in and 2 screws to go to the cabinet. So let's go ahead and get the monitor, put in this and talk through that, and then we will talk through how to get it on the cabinet. Okay, so let's talk about hooking up the monitor. As of now, we're not selling these. By the time you see this video, we might, so you can check on the site. I'll have an option to add that if we sell it. If not, we'll have a link to Amazon where you can get this, and it comes with the little controller here. This is a 14:9 monitor. So just to talk about the different parts here. So you'll have the one little ribbon cable coming from here. That's going to go, if this is your HDMI port, that's going to go on these pins here in the back with the red in the front all the way to the left. You'll have this white connector here running into the red connector here for your different settings on your monitor. And then you'll have this white connector going right here by the power. So you can see it's a 12-volt power. This white connector here, and that's going to run into the red connector here that connects in the monitor right here. This is already done for you on these monitors from Amazon. So that's how you hook it in there. So essentially all we're going to have to do is run the HDMI from our second port on our Raspberry Pi or on your computer into here to get this monitor, you know, to get signal to that monitor, and then power supply here. You'll have to buy a power supply. These don't come with them. You'll get a 12-volt. This is super important. If you plan to use a Raspberry Pi, you have to use a 3-amp power supply. If you use like a 1-amp, which I tried at first, it's not strong enough to get this to recognize so the Pi knows that it's there. So make sure and get a 12-volt 3-amp power supply for this. Otherwise, you won't get a signal on your Raspberry Pi up to that. So that's how you hook up the monitor. Next, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to peel the little protective film off the monitor right there, and then we're going to install it by just setting it in here and then using the nuts and bolts in those 4 holes to mount it. But before we do that, we'll have to peel the Plex, put the Plex on here, how it goes, make sure it's all lined up, flip this over, put the monitor in, and then you can see how you'll just bolt the monitor through the Plex and then through the mount so everything's secure like you want. Just real quick on these monitors, the big fat end up here, this is the top. So the fat end is the top and the skinny end is the bottom. Okay, so I have this mounted in here. You can see where the little bolts are that it mounted in, the 4 bolts. Pick it up, you guys can just take a quick look at how it's mounted. So everything looks good there. So next thing we need to do is we need to take the board off of our 1UP that supports their current monitor and add it to here. So what we're going to do, here's this little Street Fighter one here. I'm just going to go ahead and take the bolts out of the top on both sides right there so I can pull this apart. And as I pull this apart, I'm going to take this panel out. It'll just come out if you do those 2, and then I'll show you from there what we'll do. Okay, so I took their panel out to give me access to the back. I went and took the back off so you guys can see. Essentially I have these 2 screws right here. So we'll just undo those 2 screws. You can see how the cabinet's kind of pulled apart a little bit. But we'll undo those 2 screws and take this board and the marquee out. So I'll go and do that now. Okay, so you can see I just let those 2 screws hang in there. I took that off, pulled it out. Here it is right here. So you can see I have 3 screw holes in this ready to go. In these 3, so I'm going to take these 3 out. Just leave the black facing down, just take that off. I'm going to put on here, screw into this easy. You don't have to drill it all the way through. It's pre-drilled. So just go nice and slow until it stops on those three. So essentially we're going to move this board to the new unit. Okay, so you can see I took it off there, put it on here. So now I got the nice mount. This is going to come with a couple screws. You'll see there's pre-drilled holes on both sides of where it's going to go in. So essentially, I'm not going to be able to do this one-handed, but I'm going to take the new piece here and I'm going to put it down in there, line up those screw holes and go ahead and screw those in. And then I'm going to make sure that this is angled how it needs to be to put the new screws in the side so it holds everything tight. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do these two screws in one side of this, not both sides, because I still need to be able to pull the cabinet apart to put the new top panel in. So I'm going to put one screw in there and go ahead and screw those two in just to hold this in place, and then we'll talk through it. Okay, so that's mounted. So again, I do not have the screw in on this side, just on the other side to hold it into place. So that all looks good. Put those two screws back in, put this screw in on this side, left the other one out. So we're going to take the new panel that comes in our kit. It's just a little bit shorter than that, but you can see how the little notch goes here. This is just going to go in the slots on the side. So that'll just go in the slot on both sides and hold that into place. And that's essentially it. It's a really easy install here. Okay, so for this, I have one of our little 2-player mod kits. This would already work with the 2 or 4-player mod kits with our updated image that we did if it's running Raspberry Pi 4. So this comes pre-wired, ready to go. You just pull theirs off, put ours on, and you're good there. We have a video, so get on the YouTube if you haven't seen that, and that'll show you how to hook everything up, but it's really easy to do. Essentially on the Pi 4, you have your player 1 and player 2 USB. Of course, your player 3 and player 4 if you had a 4-panel mod. The power in the back, the pre-configured micro SD card back here. This is for 1 or 2 monitors, which I'm about to show you the 2 monitors in a second. This fan's there. It's set to only go if the processor goes over a certain temperature. More than likely it won't because it's not overclocked, but it is there and it will turn on if it needs to. You got your power here. Your HDMI 1, which that's going to plug in to your main Arcade1Up monitor. And then this HDMI 2, or sorry, it's actually 0 and 1. So the 0 goes in the main monitor. The 1 will go up into the new panel that's up there. So I have that plugged in, and that's it. All you have to do then is just plug in power and you're good to go. Again, watch our install videos on the mod kits if you want to see how to put everything together. But as far as adding the secondary monitor, it's just plugging the power in. Again, a 3-amp power supply in the HDMI and running that into the Pi 4 on the HDMI 1 here instead of the 0. So 0 main screen, 1 secondary screen. I'm just going to plug that in, boot it up, and show you guys the image. Okay, so this is based off of VirtuaMan image. I did a lot of changes to it to accommodate for everything, for all the sizing of the screen for the Marquee, so everything is exactly how you need it to. So it'll do a different intro each time. It'll also boot a different interface each time. So it feels fresh even though it's all the same. You guys are getting some glare there, but this looks perfect on my side. So you can see it's saying activating Marquees. So there's not anything you have to do on your side if you have our card. It'll just be ready to go. Okay, so that's the basic image that we put in. Again, this interface will change each time. So just to show you guys a difference, so you can see how awesome that looks. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and show a couple things. So I'll go in here just to show you. I'll go in across. Of course, if you get our mod kit that has a trackball, all those games will work. So it just kind of goes on forever. How it dices all the arcade games up. But what I want to show you here is if I just go, oh, this has open bore on it as well for guys that like that, and some of the Neo Geo. Also Daphne for Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, Dragon's Lair 2. But what I want to do is just go into Arcade Classics. Doesn't really matter. Just boot a game, just so I can show you guys how that will update on the game for all the MAME or arcade games. So it's going to show the publisher. So in this case, it's Capcom. And then it's going to show the actual Marquee. So just to get back, where you guys can see how great that looks. So again, I got everything formatted exactly how you'll need. It all looks seamless. You can see again, The artwork on this is going to match whatever cabinet you have. You'll just select which cabinet you have. So of course we're in good shape there. I can just start, but I can exit out by holding down coin and then start. Real quick to show you, I can go into start for the menu and go down to UI settings and then go to the let's see here, the theme set. So as I hit that, these are all the ones that'll randomly come up each time you reboot. If there's one you like specifically, you could just select that one and leave it running. This really doesn't matter what I select. We'll just run the first one there, the Back to the Future. As I go down to back and press the A key, it's going to take it a second to load that up. But just to show you guys a different interface. Again, it'll boot into this stuff each time, so it just always feels fresh. Even though the games and the way it's split up is all the same, it's just really nice that the interface will change for you. So that's really it. I can, I guess it's Street Fighter, so maybe we'll go in and find a Street Fighter. So here's a little Street Fighter section here. So any of the arcade games or MAME will automatically change that. So I will, this is Street Fighter 2. So let's go into the game. You guys will see that it will dynamically update the marquee. So again, this has happened to be another Capcom. And then there's our Street Fighter right there. So that's it. This is our new LCD digital marquee kit. Again, it works with our mod kits, so you don't have to know how to program or do torrents or download images, any of that kind of thing. It'll just be ready to go if you get it as part of our mod kit or add it onto a mod kit later. If you know how to do all that kind of stuff, you'll just pick up the monitor and pick up our bracket. Tell us which cabinet you have so we can match it to the cabinet. We do mass production stuff, so typically we ship same day. If not, it'll be next day. There's just no 2, 3, 4 week wait times as you see with some competitors. So set up, ready to go. Make sure and visit Arcade1Up.com and like the video.